Hi friends, as always, thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Angel, and I'm so glad that you're here listening to me. If you are new here, welcome. I hope this message will help you get through your situation. I hope after hearing the message you find it in your heart to choose to subscribe. And for all of my subscribers, thank you so much for supporting this channel. This channel is a place for standards and those looking to restore their marriage, especially when you're navigating through tough situations and it feels like the end might be near. Today, I want to discuss restoring your marriage by letting go and letting God. Whether you're facing the pain of infidelity, ongoing communication breakdowns, or you're simply feeling distant from your spouse, this message is crafted especially for you. Today, we will explore how surrendering control and embracing faith can open the doors to healing and renewed connection in your marriage. Now, understand how hard these challenges can be, and it might seem easier to just give up, but I'm here to share some hope. God's way invites divine intervention into the deepest hurts and offers a pathway to forgiveness and peace. Now, let me break down what letting go and letting God really is. It's a concept rooted in faith and surrendering control to a higher power. In the context of standing for marriage restoration, it involves releasing the need to control the outcome of the situation and instead entrusting the process to God. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in. Letting go and letting God, it pretty much means you have to surrender. Whatever it is that you want to do or you're thinking, you have to surrender it to God. Leave it in His hands. Let Him control the situation. You can't control the situation. No matter how hard you may think you're controlling the situation or how bad you want to control the situation, you got to let it go. It's out of your hands and out of your control. It's not going to go the way you want it to go. It's only going to go the way God wants it to go and the way He sees fit. So just because what you may want and how you want it to go doesn't mean that that's what God's plans are. So you have to let go and let God. So when facing challenges in a marriage and actively seeking restoration, it's natural to want to take matters into your own hands to try to fix things or to force a resolution. That's not it. Don't do it. So I'm going to let you know this approach can often lead to frustration, stress, and further discord. Letting go and letting God encourages couples to relinquish their grip on the situation and allow divine intervention to guide the path forward. Trust me. Trust me when I say this. I did this several times before I fully understood what being a standard truly was. I would constantly worry about my husband, what he was doing. I would now that I look back, it was like I was bugging and nagging him a lot. It would frustrate him so bad. There were times he would say, I wish you would just leave me alone. I'm like, oh, wow, like I bother you that much. But okay, but at the time you don't think about it like that. You don't see it as being a nagger or just somebody. You just want the situation to be like good again. You want your spouse, you want your husband, you want your wife. So you're like, hey, you know, like why you not calling me? Why you don't want to hang out? Like, why you don't want to go this place? Why you want to do this? And it's like, you don't understand and you don't see at the time. It's like you're trying to control the situation. And because you're trying to control the situation, it's not working. So it's like, okay, you know what? Got to leave it alone. So it's important you really know that surrender and control is about acknowledging that we can't control everything, including the actions and decisions of our spouse. We can't control their actions or their decisions. That's on them. So no matter how bad you wish you can tell them, like, come back home, or, you know, I wish you would be this way, or I wish you would decide, you know, who you want, what you want, you know, no matter how bad we want it, it's on them. It's not on us. It's on them. And we can't control it. No matter what it might seem at the time, like you might persuade them a little bit to kind of come back, but it's not going to work. So you have to surrender control and release, you know, that attachment to specific outcomes. You know, we have to create space for God to work in mysterious ways. If we don't, it'll never work. It's something that, you know, it's just just don't do it. I'm just trying to help save you. Don't do it. Because when we surrender control, we let go of the illusion of certainty and the existence of specific outcomes. So I get it, I've been there, done that, but this doesn't mean giving up on our marriage or passively accepting whatever happens. It's just pretty much releasing, your grip on the situation and allowing space, for intervention to unfold by God. That's it. So by releasing our attachment to specific outcomes, we open ourselves up to the possibility of unexpected blessings and opportunities for growth. Let that sink in. We open ourselves up to possibilities of unexpected blessings and opportunities for growth. We acknowledge that God's plan for our marriage may be different from what we envisioned, and we trust that His wisdom surpasses our own. So that's when you start allowing God to do His magic, work on our behalf. Surrendering control also involves embracing vulnerability and humility. It requires acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and that we need guidance and support from a higher power. This humility allows us to let go of pride, ego, and the desire to always be in control. Let that sink in, guys. We try to be in control so much, and we have to let go of what our ego is trying to tell us. Our ego is trying to tell us, like, what are people going to think? What are they going to say? When they realize that you and your spouse are no longer together. Who cares? Who cares? We're not living for them. We're living for God. What they think, what they say does not matter. We're not living for them. We're living for God. Okay? So it's let it go. Let it go. When you surrender your control, it's like we cultivate a deeper sense of trust in God's providence. We believe He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events in ways that are beyond our comprehension. This trust gives us peace among uncertainty and empowers us to navigate the challenges of marriage restoration with faith and resilience. This practice of letting go and letting God will help you to become stronger in your faith, in your belief, and knowing that God will restore your marriage. When you let go and you let God take control, all these things are just going to come into play. I promise you. When I realized how to let go and let God, and I just, put everything in His hands and His care, I started seeing a difference. It didn't happen I'll be honest, it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen right away. It took some time, but it was on God's timing. When He was ready, when He felt I was ready to receive it, when He felt my husband was ready, when He felt that we both was ready in our different ways, like He had to work on us separately and differently for us to come together and unite in a better way. And that was the only way, when I was able to let go and let God. You have no idea that when you surrender your control, it's like a sense of surrender to the present moment. It's like, instead of dwelling on the past or anxiously worrying about the future, we focus on being present in the here and now. So it's like you don't realize like what the later outcome is going to be. You like focus on now. Like, I need this now. I need it to be restored now. I want my spouse now. And God has to take time. He like, nope, you're not ready. He's not ready. She's not ready. He has to work on us. And it's like when we adapt that way of thinking and we start, being patient and allowing God to do His job, when you just sit back, it allows us to appreciate the beauty of our marriage journey, honestly. Even in the midst of the struggles and uncertainties, you get to sit back and you reflect a little bit. Trusting in God's plan enables us to believe that God's wisdom exceeds our own, and that He is actively working behind the scenes for our own good, even when circumstances appear bleak or uncertain. We have to trust in God's plan and believe that He has a purpose and a destiny for our lives, including our marriages. This means understanding that God sees the bigger picture, far beyond what we can perceive in our limited human understanding. While we may only see the immediate challenges and obstacles in our marriage, God sees the potential for growth, healing, and transformation that lies ahead. Honestly, he already knows the plans. He has our life mapped out before we do, before we even born. So pretty much you have to understand that it's in God's control, it's in his hands, and it has always been. So when we try to change his story for us, that's why it doesn't work, because we're trying to change something that God has already planned in our lives and already has in store. So you come along and you try to change that. You think that's effective? No, you're just getting in the way, basically. So it's time to get out the way. So it's like, even in the midst of trials and difficulties, trusting in God's plan provides comfort and reassurance. So when you trust in him, it provides comfort, and you feel reassured, like, okay, I know it's in God's hands. It's, God's will. It allows us to anchor our hope in something greater than ourselves, and to find peace in the knowledge that we are not alone in our struggles. This trust enables us to persevere through challenges with courage and resilience, knowing that God is with us every step of the way. So in a sense, it helps us to become stronger, because it's like, if you can get through this, you can get through anything, but with God's help. So you have to trust in God's plan and know that it will foster a sense of gratitude and acceptance for the present moment. And instead of dwelling on what could have been or anxiously worrying about the future, we learn to embrace the beauty of the journey, even amidst the uncertainties. We trust that God's timing is perfect and that he will unfold his plans for our marriage in his own time, in his own way. We have to believe that. Trusting in God's plan requires an act of surrender and submission to his will. It's about letting go of our own agenda and entrusting our marriage to his loving care. Through trust, we open ourselves up to the infinite possibilities of his grace and mercy, confident that his plan for our marriage is greater than anything we could imagine. So embrace patience is a key. You have to embrace patience, because it's part of the journey of letting go and letting God. It's the recognition that healing and reconciliation takes time, and that God's timing often differs from our own. Best to believe that. Patience enables us to endure the process with grace and resilience when even the path ahead seems daunting. When you start being patient, sometimes you don't even realize how long you have been waiting patiently, because after a while, when you just allow God to do what he wants to do and what he needs to do, you don't realize it. After a while, you be like, wow, 2 years went by, and then you start seeing things change. And you start appreciating it a little bit more. But like, I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I didn't rush back into things. So one of the key challenges in marriage restoration is the temptation to seek quick fixes or immediate resolutions to complex issues. However, the true healing and transformation rarely occurs overnight. It is a gradual and sometimes long journey that requires patience. I'm telling you, I used to get upset. I used to get mad and, ask God why. Like, why can't you just go ahead and bring my husband back home? Like, what's taking so long? Am I doing something wrong? But it just wasn't the right time. God said, nope, it's not time. You have to be patient. So, in the beginning of being a standard, it was hard. It was really hard, but God knew what he was doing. He was working behind the scenes, and I wasn't trusting him at the time. So, patience allows us to trust in God's timing, knowing that he is, he's in control of the events. So it's according to his plan. It's an understanding that restoration may not unfold according to our timeline, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. By surrendering our impatience and embracing God's timing, we open ourselves up to the possibility of, a major transformation in our marriage. More so, patience helps us to remain steadfast in our commitment to our marriage, even when the road ahead seems long and challenging. It's the willingness to endure setbacks, disappointments, and uncertainty with faith and fortitude. Instead of becoming discouraged by obstacles, patience empowers us to persevere through them, knowing that every trial is an opportunity for growth and refinement. In moments of impatience, it's important to remind ourselves of the bigger picture and the ultimate goal of restoration. We must trust that God is working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances for our highest good, even when we can't see it. Patience allows us to surrender our need for immediate results and to cultivate a sense of peace and commitment in the presence of moment. Listen, I know it's easier said than done, but when you are patient, the rewards afterwards are so much greater. It's like looking at the sunset. It's like, wow, it's such a beautiful scenery. So it's like when you learn patience, and then in the end you'll be like, it was so worth it. I promise you, you'll be saying it was so worth it. For me, it was so worth it. After I got over that being impatient, and I started being patient, just allowing God to do what he needed to do, the way things started unfolding and just falling into place, I can't even explain it. Honestly, I just can't. Just know that God, he works wonders, and I can't even say miracles because it's all in his plan. So if it's God's will, it will be done. During this journey, it will not be easy. I don't know how to explain it, but I will say that you definitely want to seek guidance through prayer. In times of uncertainty, prayer serves as a powerful way to connect with God, seeking his wisdom and finding strength to navigate the challenges that arise. When I started praying, and when I really prayed, like I was praying before, but when I really started praying, like just really crying out to God and asking him to forgive me, forgive my husband, to open up my eyes, my heart, my mind, as well as my husband's heart, his mind. It's like a spirit lifted. It's like, you have to realize that when you pray, it's a communication with God. So it allows you to express your hopes, your fears, and desire to, just be free to him. Like, just open up to him. Like, you have to look at God as your best friend. Like, how you would tell your best friend everything? It's like you have to do that with God. It's like when we pray, we are also seeking wisdom and clarity. So it's like you want to pray so that you can get the clarity that you need. You want to be able to get God's wisdom, like an understanding. So it's like when you're facing these issues in your marriage, sometimes it is easy to feel overwhelmed and unsure of the right, course of action. So it's like you want to go to God. So it's like in these moments, it's like prayer serves as a means of seeking wisdom and clarity. So it's like you want to ask for insight into your situation, ask for guidance on how to, best navigate the challenges you're facing. Through prayer, you can gain perspective and discernment. And it also will help make decisions that align with God's will. So marriage restoration is not a journey that couples should undertake alone. You have to invite God into your marriage restoration journey. And that the only way is through prayer. You have to acknowledge that his presence and, seek his intervention. You can recognize that God is the ultimate healer and reconciler, and that his grace is essential for the restoration process to unfold. And prayer is an opportunity for you to align yourself with God's will for your marriage by surrendering your own desires and intentions to God. This journey can be emotionally and spiritually draining. In moments of weakness, prayer provides us with strength and comfort. It serves as a source of solace, offering reassurance that God is present and that his grace is sufficient to sustain them through every trial and tribulation. So by incorporating prayer into your daily life, it can help you cultivate a deeper spiritual intimacy and trust in God's plan for your marriage. Now, I want to let you know that letting go of bitterness and resentment is a crucial step in this process of letting go and letting God also. Bitterness and resentment are toxic emotions that can poison a relationship. We all know that, right? Hindering the possibility of healing and reconciliation. By releasing these negative emotions and embracing forgiveness and compassion, you can create space for God's transformation power to work in your marriage. Bitterness and resentment often stems from unresolved conflicts, hurtful experiences, or unmet expectations within the marriage. These emotions can build up over time, leading to a cycle of negativity and discord. This is when you must acknowledge that the harm, bitterness, and resentment are causing your relationship and commit to letting go of these destructive emotions. Now, I'm going to tell you, that can be very, very, very hard. I will say that when my husband had a child outside our marriage, that broke me. I'm not even going to tell you about the thoughts I had, the feelings I had. It wasn't good. I'm gonna tell you that much. It took me to a dark place. And I tell you, without God, I don't know. You know, sometimes you see these stories, hear these stories on the news, or, you know, see them and you're like, oh my goodness, what was that person thinking? Why did they go and do this to that person, or do harm, or do whatever? It's because they don't have God. When you allow the devil to get in your head and your mind, all kinds of things go through your head, your mind, and it's just not good. So don't let the devil win. Don't let those negative thoughts come about. You go to God. You seek help, because if not, it can get you, and it could take you to a very, very, very dark place. So you don't want that. Whatever bitterness you have, let it go. Whatever negative thoughts you have, let it go. Letting go and letting God involves making a conscious choice to forgive those who have hurt us, and to cultivate compassion towards ourselves and others. Forgiveness is not condoning or excusing the actions of the offender. Rather, it's a decision to release the grip of resentment and anger. By extending forgiveness to our spouse and ourselves, we free ourselves from the burden of carrying grudges and open the door to healing and reconciliation. And I want to tell you that is so true. When you forgive yourself, because I had to forgive myself first. I had to forgive myself for those thoughts, for some actions that I did take. I had to forgive myself. Once I was able to forgive myself through God's help, I was able to forgive my husband. And when I was able to do that, a lot of doors open too. So, you know, make sure that you let it go. Whatever it is you have in your heart and your mind, let it go. Because when we let go and let God, it means we surrender our hurt and grievances to a higher power. It's about acknowledging that we cannot carry the weight of our pain alone, and inviting God to take on our burdens. Through prayer and surrender, we relinquish control and trust in God's ability to bring about healing and restoration in our marriage. So let it go. By releasing bitterness and resentment, we create space for healing and reconciliation to occur. Forgiveness is a powerful transformation. It allows ourselves to move forward with renewed hope and optimism. Letting go of bitterness and resentment enables you to cultivate a spirit of gratitude and grace within your spouse. Instead of dwelling on past hurts and grievances, you can focus on the present moment and appreciate the blessings that you have. Gratitude is a sense of contentment and positivity, strengthening the foundation of the relationship and paving the way for a brighter future with your spouse when you are reconciled. So in closing, as you embark on your journey of letting go and letting God in your marriage restoration, remember that it's a process that requires patience, faith, and courage. By releasing control, embracing forgiveness, and surrendering your hurts and grievances to God, you open the door to healing, reconciliation, and the restoration of your relationship. Trust in God's plan, have faith in His timing, and believe that His love has the power to transform your marriage. May your hearts be filled with hope, your spirits lifted by grace, and your love strengthened by His divine guidance. Letting go and letting God isn't always easy, but it's a journey worth taking for the sake of a marriage filled with love, joy, and lasting peace. So as always, thank you for listening. And if you felt this message and you felt it was helpful, please feel free to like and subscribe. Until next time, God bless. Thank you.